Hello guys, my name is John and I'm from Norway. I would like to talk a bit about the increase in sexual assault in Europe. I will not sit here and talk about my own opinion, but I will build up an argument through data and stats, and then I will let you guys make the interpretation. Yeah, so let's just get into it. Here we see number of police record rape offences in England and Wales from 2022 to 2014. If you zoom out and look at the whole picture, we definitely see a sharp increase in sexual assault over this time period. If you look at the start of the time period in 2022 to 2012, we definitely see that it is somewhat flatline, or it is at least around the mean. So we don't have any outliers in any years. We don't see a sharp increase or sharp decrease. It is somewhat flatline over this period of time. Then we see an huge increase in number of cases where it is increasing each year. So it's not only increasing one year and then fall back to the mean, but it is increasing each year, and this upward trend is increasing to today. Yeah, so again, I will not talk about what's behind this, but this is the facts. So let's try to take some other example in Europe. Here we have number of reported cases of sexual offences in Sweden from 2013 to 2023. And here, just to be clear, we don't have the same time period where the sharp increase in number of cases in the England and Wales example, it is increasing around the start of this time period in the Sweden case. But however, we still see an increase that is sharply in this time period from around 60,000 to 24,000 cases in this period of time. That is around, I have not calculated, but it is around 40 to 50% increase over this period of time in only 10 years. And just to be clear, I'll go back to this example. So it is the case that when you have an increase in GDP and living standard, you normally see crime decrease. So crime and GDP is negatively correlated. However, looking at sexual crimes, it looks like these two countries, GDP and sexual crimes, are positively correlated. So as we gain in GDP, which is the case from England and Sweden this period of time, we see that higher increase in sexual assault, which is somewhat counterintuitively. So you can ask yourself the question, what might this be? What is behind these data? And some will say a counter argument, especially in the case of Sweden, because they have been discussed a lot in the media, is that, oh, Sweden, they have a high increase in number of rape cases, but the reason is that the Swedish definition of rape and sexual assault is a lot different than other countries, and that's the reason for the large increase in these sexual crimes. However, that is actually correct. The definition of rape is different in Sweden than it is to other countries. That's why you cannot always compare country to each other. However, I would say, only looking at Sweden, these definition changes happened in 2018. So if that was the reason for an increase in sexual assault in Sweden, what one would have seen is, we would have seen that the data somewhat flatlined around this period of time, and then has a huge increase in number of sexual assault and rape, since they had changed their definition in 2018. So where this category is rape and this category is sexual harassment, and sexual assault is a gray area here. But that is not the case. You see a large increase from 2000, I would say, yeah, this end of 2012 to 2018. The number of sexual offenses have increased with around 5,000. So that argument, which is actually a lower increase than from 2018 to 2023. I don't know if you get my point. So the argument about this definition doesn't really make sense. Also, if that argument didn't make sense, then let's look at Europe, or in this case EU in total. So this is sexual violent crimes in EU in total. And here we definitely see somewhat the same trend from the same period of time in Sweden and also in England. You see, it's different type of data, but you still see the same trend. Again, I've not calculated, but I will say this is around 40 to 50% increase, again in a period of 10 years. Again, I will claim that this is weird because the EU have seen a larger living standard in this period of time, not a huge increase in GDP, but still a higher living standard, but we see an increase in sexual violence. Okay, so one could say, I don't know what the counter argument could be right now, but just to debunk whatever counter argument that could be, let's look at a country that is different to these countries. So let me start by telling you what I think this reason is, and I could be wrong, I could be right, it doesn't matter. Let me just make some interpretation of these numbers. I think the reason for this large increase and this upward trend in sexual assault, the main reason is the increase in migrants, asylum seekers from the Middle East and Africa, because that happened around this period of time. And Sweden was the country in the world when the Syrian civil war escalated. That was the country that took in most people per capita from Syria, Somalia, and etc. Iraq and other Middle East African countries. Okay, so let's try to look at a country that didn't do that. Have they experienced the same trend, or have they not? So this picture is, I know it's very blurry, so it's hard to see the numbers, but I have to pay a subscription to get the data, and didn't really want to do that, but I think you get the picture. The time period is from 1990 to 2023, so somewhat the same period of time of the England and Wales data. And you definitely see over a period of time a downward trend instead of a large upward trend. Here we see also this period of time is somewhat around 2012, 2014, and we still see the downward trend. And Poland is a country that has almost had zero immigration from Middle East and Africa. So you can make your own interpretation. I would say these are not, you cannot make an argument. Let's don't conclude that migration has or have a large correlation with sexual assault increase in Europe. That's at least my interpretation, but it is based on facts and data. I would say if you have somewhat another view on it or have a different opinion, please share it in the comments. I know I'm not the best speaker ever. I'm not a huge anything, but I just think that this is really important to share around. So if I get to 10 people, that's enough for me. I just hope those 10 people will share it to another 10 people. You don't have to share my video, share whatever other video you can do or article or whatever. I really think this is the hardcore truth. You can go a lot more in detail what the reason for taking in people from a certain culture increases the sexual assault. I will not go into detail with that in this video. Maybe you can do it. I can do it in another video. However, I just hope that you guys share this around, mouth to mouth, whatever way you do it, because yeah, I think it's important. And if you have a different point of view than I have, I'm more than happy to hear you out. I think it's important that we listen to each other, that we don't ignore the other side that don't have the same view as I have and you may have. So yeah, but regardless, have a good day and thank you very much for listening.